Good evening and welcome to the Punter on Sports Tonight. I'm Flash Gordon Watson and tonight I'm joined by the mad Scotsman himself and the master of all stats, Chrissy Graham. First of all, Chrissy, after the weekend, second week in, played 2 games now. Anything changed for you from your initial impressions?
Well, a lot of the teams that I fancied have started poorly. Southampton.
Part of the course?
Yeah. I opposed Wigan and everything. They've started well. But it's a long season, Flash.
It's very long.
Yeah, QPR, a team I really fancied, they've not started well, but it's a long season. And I refuse to give up after 2 weeks. 36 to go. And
it's amazing that it is so early, and yet we're going to have to talk about tonight first managers to go. That's absolutely crazy. And especially who will be top of the list deserves to be in for the job for like at least a couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. It's a ridiculous situation. Andy Thorne got sacked last night by Coventry.
Yeah.
So we've already seen a manager leave. It's leaving September the 1st yet. So yeah, but yeah, you know, a lot of...
Do you think that's panic stations from the people upstairs? Because how can you sack a manager after 3 games? Surely you've got to do it before the season starts, or at least give him the 6 to 10 to settle in. Especially if you've brought new players in, they need time to work it out.
I think it's wrong. I think it's fundamentally wrong. I think people should at least get to October, November, especially for new managers. Of course, Thorne was there last year, got relegated, but a very tight budget, so I think it was quite harsh.
Or even tighter than that. I don't think he had anything to spend. Yeah. But let's just jump up a little notch and have a little look at the Premier League odds. Now, Chelsea, 9 points out of 9, 7 to 2. Not for me, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that they've had quite an easy ride of it. A false position, obviously, the only team that's played 3 games. Man City, 11 to 8. They've even gone out on the back of a 2-2 draw. Going to Liverpool this year, coming away with a draw, I think that's a point gained rather than 2 lost.
Well, City haven't won at Anfield for 11 games, so yeah, it would have been a very good win. Odds 8 to 5 if they'd won yesterday. But you're right, it's no disaster by any means. United still 11 to 5, Chelsea in from 11 to 2, like we say, and Arsenal pushed it to 25 to 1. Quite alarming. They're only the 3rd side ever in the Premier League history to start the season with 2 goalless draws. Oh my, what a disaster!
Oh, well, exactly. And the big thing, you look at Arsenal, and that was them 15, 20 years ago, that if they didn't let in goals, they win games. So all of a sudden they brought Steve Bold. Steve Bold's gone in 3 times yesterday. I saw 3 hands go up, all in line, all in tune, all talking, and they caught Stoke offside and null and void their attack. So I think that if they can then get it right at the other end, that 25 to 1 must look massive.
Yeah, and Cazorla's had a great start, isn't he? He looks very lively. He looks the kind of guy who'd create a lot of goals. It's a terrible thing to say, but just imagine Van Persie was still in that squad. Cazorla feeding Van Persie. Just, you know, how many goals would they rack up there? But that's dead and buried.
And that was a big thing looking at Arsenal yesterday. They just seemed to be taking an extra touch or playing it too early or players taking space at others. But that'll work itself out in 3 or 4 weeks.
No disgrace drawing at Stoke at all. Well, just 1-1 in 5 at the Britannia for Arsenal. So not like Man City yesterday as well. No disgrace at all.
Well, we're going to have a little look at the top 4 finish here, and obviously it's going to be dominated by the likes of Man United, Man City, Chelsea 1 to 5, Arsenal now 5 to 6. Now, I think that even money for Arsenal to be in the top 4 is just an unbelievable value bet.
Well, 8 to 13, that was the best price you could have got at the start, so they've well and truly drifted out here at 5 to 6. For me, looking at this, interesting to see Everton coming from 20 to 1 into 8 to 1. Absolutely fantastic start for the Goodison club. Absolutely delighted for David Moyes and his players. He's got a lot of Scottish players in there, which makes me very, very happy. Newcastle 16 to 1. I still want to rule out Newcastle. I know it seems a bit silly after their flat performance on Saturday night, but I think they've got a cracking team. They can hold on to TOTTENHAM. I think they'll be a force there, and I think 16 to 1 at the moment is the biggest price there that attracts me.
And obviously outside the top 3 or 4, I think Newcastle are the one side that can really carry a few injuries to important players. I mean, you look at Everton and you lose Jelavic, you've got no recognised striker there, and then you go with Arsenal, and they're still hoping that strikers like your Giroud, like your Podolski, they need to perform, and yet you go to somewhere like Everton. I think Everton are a false price, 8 to 1. I don't see them being in the top 4 come May.
You're right, and Jelavic, a lot of people were questioning when he moved from the SPL up, but boy, he's taken it really well. 8 goals in his last 8 games for the Toffees.
Oh, he's a goal scorer, and all goal scorers, they score goals wherever, as long as you give them the opportunities.
But you're right, if you take him out of the squad, they might be in trouble, but I think it's fantastic that Everton have started the season so well.
Oh, it's all good, it's all good. Now let's go where it's all bad, and all bad is the bottom of the league, and this is going to be a false position for a lot of clubs. I mean, mean, you look at Southampton, they're 5-4 to be relegated,
Yeah.
but Southampton can easily be bottom with no points after 6 games. Their next 2 games are Manchester United at home and Arsenal away. Then you look at Norwich. Norwich, for me, 5-4, I definitely see Norwich going down.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're strong enough, and I think that basically they got enough points early on last year. But the big one for me there's no Swansea. West Brom were 11-2, and I think that they're 2 sides that prior to the season started could have struggled, and I mean there's a lot that's been dragged into there now. Villa, West Ham and Reading.
Villa the big mover, 7-1 pre-season into 11-4. Alarming signs there at the moment. Paul Lambert must be thinking, what have I done here? But yeah, they just look weak, fundamentally weak, and it's not a great squad. But like I say, 2 games gone, there's still 36 to go. I'm still happy to get involved with West Brom at 11-2. I'm still happy to think about Swansea in that position. It's 6-1, which I think is a massive overreaction. They've started well, but like I say, it's very, very early days here. Southampton does concern. Nigel Atkins is short as 13-8 to be next manager leave, which is an absolute disgrace. That guy, you know.
I know. I don't want to go on to it, but I know I'm going to have to. In a couple of minutes' time, we're going to have a look at the caption for the first manager to be sacked. And talking about it 2 games in, it really grates me because the managers, they work under such intense circumstances, and it doesn't seem to matter how well you've got on before. The lad has hardly lost a game for 2 years. He's took a side that were in Division 3. Let's not make no bones about it. There's no League 1 and all that. It's League 3. And he's gotten back into the Premiership, the Promised Land, early, with a squad of players that didn't cost a lot to assemble. And then they're saying, he's lost a few games in the big league, we're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, you're preaching that they converted, absolutely. And this is what Derby did 4 years ago when they got rid of Billy Davies after 4 months. That went well, didn't it?
Oh, well, exactly. I mean, we're going to have a look at the best odds now for a horrible, horrible title of the next manager to go. Nigel Atkins, 16-5, absolutely crazy. Mark Hughes been given an absolute fortune to go and sort out Queen's Park Rangers, 10-1. Big Sam, he must be on a little bit of pressure. But again, he's a manager that's gone up there. He's had to obviously change his personnel. So you've got to give them 6, 10, 12 games. Tony Pulis. Harry's even on this caption is beyond me because they've been in the Premiership for about 6 or 7 years and they overachieve every year. Chrissy Houghton, a new manager in place, got to give him time. Andre Villas-Boas, 20-1. Paul Lambert, same at Villa. He's going to have to sort out a right mess there. And Robbie Di Matteo. Nearly all of them there. They're all new managers.
I know. I think it should be illegal for any promoted manager to get sacked before Christmas. You know, anybody who comes up for the championship should not be allowed to leave before Christmas. I'm still sticking with Steve Clarke. I know it's a massive price. I accept that. And that's why I'm sticking with it. But you know, West Brom started very well, but like I said, early days and
another new manager.
Exactly, yeah, another new manager. I know, but he started very well. It's gone well, but you know, it's early days yet. And come October, they could be in the bottom 3, and then he really will be under pressure. At 25-1, that's where I'd be looking.
Yeah, it's hard to like sort of hypen up the exposure of a manager who hasn't done well when the manager has maybe not got the funds to bring players in, so he's got to work with what he's got. And fundamentally, if they're not good enough, then it's the manager's head that rolls. Yeah,
absolutely. And Clark's still an unknown quantity for me. And I think we'll learn a lot in the next few weeks. And if he does succeed, I take my hat off to him. Absolutely, another great Scottish manager. So yeah, good luck to him. But if I was having a bet in this market, that's where I'd be looking.
Okay, well, we're now going to have a look at the Championship, which is obviously the biggest minefield of them all. This is the hardest league, and I question everybody. Try and tell me the winner in March. See if you can do it. Blackburn 8-1, not for me. Blackpool, yes, causing distance. They always seem to do it. My 2 tips: Leicester and Leeds, 10-1 and 11-1. Bolton, they were okay last week against Nottingham Forest. They won't pick up no great shakes, but they're another team I don't believe that can carry many injuries. Cardiff, I'm not having. I'm not surprised that Cardiff have drifted. Because they've got no width. They've only got one player up the top, and also they've got no pace on the break, so they're very predictable for me. Forest, I think they'll be happy to even break into the championship, in the playoffs. But I mean, you have a look there. You got Leicester, very, very good manager. Gets them organised. Great discipline, and they will go all the way. There's the downside, maybe lose a game, come back with a win, but they won't it just will not be allowed to go defeat. It's just not allowed. But Leeds, Neil Warnock.
Yeah, great man. I've read his autobiography. I've got much respect for the guy. But it's all about the B's here, isn't it? Blackpool, Bolton, and Blackburn. I can't see Blackburn staying at the top of the
list.
No
chance.
For sure.
No.
No way. Good luck to Steve.
Too much politics goes on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see Blackpool win the league. I would. I think Ian Holloway deserves a Premier League job again after what,
and a lot of the Premiership chairman, they want to have a little look at the way that they've done it at Blackpool, because he took them up, he done really well. Everyone was talking about him not getting dropped. They did get relegated. They went back down. He's kept his job, and now he has to go again.
And the two I put up at big prices back in July, because I like big prices, Flash, were Brighton and Middlesbrough. There's nothing I've saw so far has put me off those two. I think they'll be in the mix. And Sheffield Wednesday Euro Club 20-1. I think that's quite large. 7 points out of 9. Started really well. Promoted clubs up from League One to Championship have been promoted 2 successive seasons, Norwich and Southampton. The trend suggests they could be up there coming into the season.
OK, we'll have a little look at League One and see who's going to be the trendsetters for next year, 2013-2014. Sheffield United 11-2, started at 6-1. Swindon under Paolo Di Canio. MK Dons, I think they punch above their weight. Doncaster are probably the best starters. Notts County not got a big enough squad. They've already said they've got off to a good start. I spoke to number 2 at Notts County, and he said to me that we're doing OK, we're doing really well, in fact, but if we lose a couple of our important players, we are struggling. Bournemouth not got enough resources. Coventry just lost their manager. Preston, I see Sheffield United, it's theirs to throw away over the course of a season.
Yeah, well, they haven't started amazingly well, but they're still in pole position without any doubt. Coventry 18-1, like we say, who'll come in? That's the question for punters. We must mention Yeovil at 40-1. You know.
Gary Johnson again.
It's come back in there. Just shows you sometimes managers suit specific clubs, and Gary Johnson did so well there in his first spell. He's come back and they're top at the moment.
Okay.
And yeah, that could continue.
Yeah, it could do. Let's have a little look at League Two now, because Rotherham were pre-season favourites. They still are. Fleetwood at 15-2. Now I think they're about 6 from bottom at the moment, and this is because they've come up and they've had hard games, and you have to wait for them all to play each other so you can get a real look. I mean, anything on there that takes your fancy?
Well, the mad dog Martin Allen started well at 11-1 with Gillingham, wasn't he? I like Chesterfield. Been in a special start, but 16-1. John Sheridan, a good manager there. They won this league 2 years ago. Disappointing to get relegated last year. They're a shout. Bristol Rovers as well, 20-1 under Mark McGee. Fleetwood probably a bit too short for me. A lot of hype about the Blue Square League.
And Rotherham, obviously, new stadium. They've got Steve Evans, who went up from Crawley. He must have gone up there for a reason, and he must be under pressure to deliver. Absolutely.
I mean, this is a job that's tailor-made for him, isn't it? You know, get us up to the League One, and you know he did so well at Crawley, but you know, new stadium as well. So it seems like Rotherham are, you know, it's a new chapter in their history. Can they get promoted?
It could be a great year for South Yorkshire, with the likes of Sheffield United going in League One, Rotherham in League Two, maybe Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. We're going to have a quick break, but when we come back, it'll be on the South Coast. The Ageas Bowl host England versus South Africa, the second one-day international. See you in 2. Welcome back to the Punter on Sports Tonight. I'm Gordon Watson and I'm joined by Chrissy Graham. I was talking about the football, the Premiership, League One, League Two and the Championship, but now we're off to Flushing Meadow for the US Open. We've got, obviously, Chrissy Graham alongside me, but we've also got Mark Blair, who's our tennis correspondent. Mark, how you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, we're very well, thank you. We're looking forward to this because no Rafa Nadal, Federer and Murray in the same half. Does that mean that Djokovic is a walkover to the final?
I've just looked at the outright market, and it really is surprising what an easy route he has got through to at least the semis. I don't think Djokovic is in great form at the moment. There's a few question marks about him, but his route through to the semis is really straightforward.
But the big thing for us is we looked at it and it was 13-8 for Djokovic to win the men's outright, and he was 1-2 to reach the final alone. And who would you put up that could upset him on the way then?
The only people I see troubling him is there's David Ferrer, who's never really done well against him in the past, but there's also John Isner, who beat him at one of the Masters Series early in the year. John Isner is a very dangerous player if you catch him at the wrong moment. Apart from John Isner, it really looks straightforward to the final. And then, of course, they play the semis on the Saturday, followed by the final on the Sunday. So it really is a massive advantage having possibly an easy semi-final going into the final against possibly Federer or Murray in the other half.
Well, we're having a look at the outrights here, Mark, and we see that Djokovic has now gone into 6-4 in them 2 minutes that you've actually said that he's going to have an easy walk through to at least the semi-final. John Isner at 80-1. Now, John Isner, is he out the Roddick mould? Big serving, hard to get it back, hard court specialist?
He is very similar to Roddick. He's kind of a modern-day Andy Roddick. Serves even bigger. His return game is possibly weaker than Roddick's, but yeah, they are a very similar type of player. And of course, Isner has beaten Djokovic this year already on the American hard courts. Okay, well, we've highlighted 2 games over the next 2 days, and that's Robin Haase and Felicio Lopez, who go on at 9 p.m. tonight. And we've got David Goffin and Thomas Berdych, who play tomorrow. Well, let's have a look at the Haase and Lopez odds. What are your thoughts on this game? I think this is one of the most open matches there is tonight. Yeah, I mean, what have you got? Lopez at 8-11, Haase 5-4, so they can't split them at all. So the outsider Haase, would you see any reason why he can't win? There's absolutely no reason why he can't win. He actually won the last time they met on a pretty fast clay court in Kitzbühel. Feliciano Lopez, I'm sure a lot of your watchers will have seen him before. He's had many matches with Murray and Henman over the years. He's past his best now, though. You know, he's always a tricky opponent because he's quite a big serving left-hander. But Robin Haase is one of these up-and-coming kids. Hard court's on his best surface. He actually does better on clay. But there's not much between these two. And yeah, my model, my numbers point towards Haase winning this, probably about 60% favourite. So definite value there on Robin Haase. Well, there you go. And obviously, Chris, you could have a little chat with Mark.
Hi, Mark. It's
Hi, Chris.
I think the second game we got to look at absolutely fascinates me here. David Goffin against Thomas Berdych. Goffin as big as 6-1, I think. I like the look of that. Berdych, for me, has been struggling the last couple of months. We saw him get knocked out in the first round at Wimbledon. There's lots of appeal for Goffin for me here. Would you tend to agree?
I know, yeah. I mean,
does that mean no, Mark?
Be honest.
I looked at this. First glance, I thought Goffin might offer up some value here. Berdych, he lost in the first round at Wimbledon. Ernest Gulbis, so it's no real disgrace there. He showed some pretty good form, Berdych, last week in Winston-Salem. This it's kind of the Queens for the US Open, the warm-up tournament the week before. And he showed some pretty good form, losing in the final to Isner, which is no disgrace. Whereas Goffin, we all remember him for that French Open this year where he did well against Federer. But I haven't seen much convincing from him on the hard courts. And recently he's put in a few performances where he's serving more double faults than aces, which is always, you know, against a player like Berdych, you're not going to be able to get away with that kind of thing. Well, Mark, probably the best thing to do is to take the bigger price about Goffin, and then if he gets off to a good start, he's not going to stay at the 5-1, so you can trade out and then watch the game for nothing. Now, we're going to go over to the women's now, which is far more interesting for me. I make Serena Williams a complete lay at evens because there's 6, 7, maybe 8 other girls who could lift this title. What are you thinking? I'm thinking if you are going to get on Serena, probably wait for a couple of rounds, just let her get into the groove. If she is going to go out, if she is going to not win this title, I think it might be an early loss, similar to when she went out at the French Open. You know, if you wait a couple of rounds, her odds aren't going to come in that much, and you know, it might be 1.8 after a couple of rounds. But yeah, there are some interesting long shots on this. Okay, and they are? Namely, the girl Petra Kvitova, who won Wimbledon last year. There was a lot of talk about her not liking these US hard courts and suffering from asthma and all this kind of thing, but she's really put that to bed, and she's done well in the US Open Series leading up to this.
Well, Mark, I mean, it's weird you saying that because Chrissy Graham's been going on about Kvitova being the one, and so Chris...
I think it's a good shout, Mark, definitely. I think she's a great record in the Grand Slams this year. She's been playing fantastic in the hardcore warm-up tournaments, and I think at 11-1, she's a monster price.
Yeah, I think she beat Gnarly, Kerber, both good players. And, yes, Serena at even money at this point is not too tempting.
No, I would be a firm layer. We'll have a little look at the Kvitova. Mark, thanks a lot, mate. We'll get back to you, obviously, as the tournament progresses. So, would you say lay Serena, get on Djokovic?
I wouldn't lay Serena, but I wouldn't be backing her either.
Okay, well, okay, you sit on the fence as much as you like. Mark, we'll speak to you again soon.
Speak to you soon, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Just quickly flash, Tipsarevic, 250-1 to win the US Open, 11-2 to win his quarter. He's in the weakest quarter out of the four. He's shown some good form this year. I think that was the thing that caught me there.
Okay, and if you had any decent Scottish tennis players, I'd listen to you. Okay, we're going to go on to the cricket now, and obviously another place, another where Scotland do absolutely brilliantly.
I don't care.
We're off to Southampton, sunny Southampton. The weather's set fair, so I think you'll get a good day's cricket there. South Africa 10-11, England even money. I'm not obviously worried about me patriotism. South Africa at 10-11, they look the real deal for me.
I disagree. I think England have got had a fantastic, won 10 in a row, 10 ODIs in a row, looking in great form. I think what happened with Kevin Peterson was that will strengthen the team spirit, I think, getting rid of that.
But it takes off runs, though. He's so dynamic, destructive.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, you get rid of the rat and, you know, team cohesion.
Oh, yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for
Definitely.
that. Anyone who's not pulling in the right direction, then get him out of your boat. You'll go a lot quicker. We'll have a little look at the top batsmen, obviously, for tomorrow. And there is some value here because you can have a look.
I tell you what, one that I like, Johnny Bairstow. 5-1 with some bookmakers, as big as 16s with others, which is a massive...
Then have a good look around.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy's on top of the world in a bit. Anytime he goes to a nightclub, then he'll pull a girl. He's in absolutely amazing form. Yeah. We saw him come in the third test, he replaced Peterson, scored 95 and 54, looking great there. This weekend he took Yorkshire to the 2020 final.
Well, they got beat by Hampshire.
They got beat, but they qualified for the Champions League. He's loving life now. Full of confidence. It's a big price. That's why I'm putting up at 16-1. Johnny Bairstow for me. Yeah, well,
Ewan Morgan was on there and he loves it. And also Ian Bell was on there, and Ian Bell top scored against the West Indies in the last ODI at Southampton. But I think that South Africa might just have a little bit too much without having the charismatic, if you like, but if not dodgy, Kevin Peterson.
Well, I mean, they were wonderful in the Test series, and I think England losing that Test series is no disgrace. I mean, South Africa great on the road, you know, wonderful form on the road, like Gdansk, we've just watched an extra class at. So yeah. Would be no disgrace at all. So I see your point. I just like England. I think that the team spirit will be bubbling up at 10 wins in a row, and Johnny Bairstow at 16-1.
Cheers, Chrissy. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Take care.